Follow-up segment tonight. Accused killer Joseph Smith pleaded not guilty in the Carly Brucia murder case. As you know, Smith is charged with brutally killing the 11-year-old after Judge Harry Rapkin refused to send him to prison for parole violations. We had plenty of questions for the judge, but he wouldn't answer them. So a few weeks ago, we went to him.
I called, we spoke to your office, and we said, would you do an interview with us with the O'Reilly factor? And we had no calls back.
O'Reilly factor?
5 phone calls for you, sir.
O'Reilly's a piece of scum. I really wouldn't give any interview with the O'Reilly factor. You could put that on there. He's just everybody knows he's just a whatever.
We just want...
That's not real journalism. Mr. O'Reilly, I have nothing to say to him.
All right, joining us now from Tampa is Greg Hagopian, a former sex crimes prosecutor for Manatee County on the west coast of Florida in the Sarasota area. Since we embarrassed the judge and all of the subsequent hell broke loose, have there been any changes to the parole system in the county?
Well, Bill, there haven't been any actual changes yet, but they have a new bill that's making its way through the legislature, and it's quite significant with the changes that they want to implement. A few of the things that they want to do, they want to make it mandatory no bond for any type of probationer that gets rearrested while they're on probation. If that person has a prior violent felony in their past, they want to keep them in jail until the hearing. That's new. They also want to impose a 5-year minimum mandatory for anybody that's convicted of a probation violation when they have a prior violent felony in their past. Those are the two biggest changes.
All right, so obviously something good might come out of this, because the legislature is basically taking the discretion out of the hands of guys like Rapkin and saying, you got to do this now. You can't be letting these guys run in and out of here and putting drug addicts back on the street with violent histories. And I believe this will pass. I know Jeb Bush will sign it if it does pass, but I can't possibly see it not pass. Can you?
Well, Bill, there is a problem. The Department of Corrections Secretary, James Crosby, came out and estimated it would cost approximately $1 billion to implement these kind of broad, sweeping changes that you're talking about. That could be, obviously, a stumbling block.
Because why? They'd have to put more people in prison, build more prisons? Is that what the situation is?
That's exactly right. They estimated about a 10% increase if it was passed in the prison population, talking about $500 million for 7 new prisons, and this is just at the beginning if this were to pass. There's also other sweeping changes in there. You would have to have quite an increase in the number of probation officers to monitor these people.
Why? Why would you have to have an increase if you're putting them back in prison when they violate their parole? Why do you need a parole officer? They're in prison.
Well, one of the factors, or one of the sections that they want to implement, is an increased supervision and surveillance of probationers that they identify as having high risk factors.
Oh, I see. Well, then they shouldn't let them out then. They shouldn't parole them if they have a high risk factor, should they?
Well, Bill, we're not talking really about parole here. We're talking about, instead of sending someone to prison, putting them either on community control, which is house arrest.
But why would you do that
probation.
if it's a high-risk person?
Well, the other thing that you have, Bill, is somebody that's been previously convicted, served their time, and then has some type of new minor offense that would warrant probation.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, but I think Florida's got to get it together down there, or you're going to have more Carly Brucias. Now, let's talk about Rapkin. I understand there's nobody running against him. He's up for re-election in the fall. You got a primary in August, and there's nobody running against him so far. Is that right?
Well, as far as I know, Bill, there is nobody that's filed to run against him, and he is an elected judge, and he is up for re-election in November. I can't believe it. Isn't there any?
Can't you convince anybody to run against this guy? He's a disgrace.
Well, Bill, to be honest with you, the sentiment in the legal community down here is that Judge Rapkin really didn't do anything wrong.
I know, because you guys are a big clubhouse. I mean, the sentiment in the legal community in San Diego is that the lawyers for Westerfield didn't do anything wrong. Who cares about them? The people know he did something wrong. He knows he did something wrong. He can hide behind the law all day long, but you don't let a guy like this run around, and he did. I mean, is nobody who wants to run against this guy? I can't believe it. Why don't you run against him?
I don't know about that. But,
why not? Why don't you run against him? You could beat him. Anybody could beat him.
Well, I don't know about that, Bill. When it first came out, I know the press wanted to make him as a scapegoat for this terrible tragedy. But as you look at it, he was not given the information now that we all have.
Hagopian, that's look, with all due respect, we really appreciate it. That's a bunch of garbage. We tracked this guy's record. He's a soft record. He did this 50 times. Mr. Hagopian, you run against him. Think about it. You can do more good for society, protect more little girls, and you can beat his butt, and I'll help you beat him. And if you don't want to do it, find somebody who will, an honest man down there. Don't give me any of this Rapkin business. We know him. We traced him. He's a danger. Find somebody. And I'm appealing to the good people of Sarasota. Somebody step up and run against this guy. We appreciate you coming on, Mr. Hagopian. Thank you very much. Plenty more ahead as the factor moves along this evening. Charges the city of San Diego is harassing the Boy Scouts. Wow, harassing the Boy Scouts? And Newt Gingrich on whether or not some UN officials were bribed by Saddam. We hope you stay tuned for those reports.
Hey guys, what are you doing? We're checking out your sponsor, Ditech.com.
Refinance your mortgage with Ditech.com for just $395 in lender closing costs.
I can hear you guys now. Lost another one to Ditech.
Call 1-800-DITECH-1.
I think other people look at my success in a way that they said, man, how'd you do it? If you want the opportunity to move up in this organization, it's there for you. From loading trucks to now being the director of operations of 10 Sam's Clubs. I've been able to do things in my life and have things in my life that I didn't think were possible. I kind of think Walmart and Sam's Club will give you the opportunity to better your lifestyle. That's what it's about. You have a good job, a good family, a good life, and life's good. My name is Steven. I've been with Sam's Club for 15 years.
I want to jump out of bed in the morning.
I want to hit the ground running.
Arthritis is not stopping me.
I want to move freely.
Easily, comfortably.
Tylenol arthritis pain gives you the power of prescription ibuprofen and lasts all day.
Takes care of the pain.
Leaves the rest of me alone.
It doesn't have the drug interaction risks of Advil and Aleve.
This is how I want to feel. This is more like it.
I can move.
I can move.
I feel free and flexible.
Tylenol arthritis pain.
Oh, I can feel like this all day.
Dear Bill, I'm traveling widely. I've been to the Caribbean. And would you believe it, I've been cliff diving in Mexico. Now I'm in Le Quebec. Bonjour, as they say. I'm something of a cheese connoisseur. I do enjoy a stinky cheese. A pungent, ghastly, stinky piece of cheese. Well, cheerio, the roaming gnome. Book with Travelocity. Don't forget your hat.
Saturday, a Fox News Channel special, Breaking Point, the Terrorists Next Door, hosted by Linda Vester. Then Bush's campaign strategy in question, Ed Rollins on After Hours. This weekend.
They signed this document, which is revolutionary, putting in place a constitutional democratic process.
What's the next step with Iraq? Special guest Colin Powell responds.
The political heavy hitters, here on Fox News Sunday. I'm Chris Wallace.
Now, Chris Wallace hosts Fox News Sunday. Check your local listings.
Unresolved problem segment tonight. As you may know, a federal judge in San Diego has ruled the Boy Scouts are a religious organization and that the city cannot allow the Scouts to use municipal land for events. That ruling is being appealed, but in the meantime, another situation has developed. The Scouts say some city workers are harassing them. Joining us now from San Diego are Michael Zucchetti, city councilman, and Marilee Boyack, a spokesperson for the Scouts. Marilee, what exactly is happening down?
Well, for over a year now, the city employees have been harassing Boy Scouts and volunteers, the moms and dads, and this has been really getting out of hand. It began when the city required the Boy Scouts to paint a bright red line around the entire perimeter of the facility, and the city rangers have been scrupulously guarding that. I think the worst case was when the Scouts were given permission to pull their picnic tables, which they owned, out onto a little bit of city parkland so that the children could eat their meals in the shade. But the minute the children pulled out their merit badge books and other activities, the city rangers came swooping in and said, no, 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 you can't do that. You have to do that on the other side of the red line. That's just a terrible, terrible harassment of the Scouts, and I could go on.
Mr. Zucchetti, it sounds to me like that is just totally out of line. Do you have any reply to it?
The city is investigating each of the Boy Scouts' claims, but let me just observe that it seems odd that a city, as we did, would extend the lease at Camp Balboa for 25 years in the year 2000, would spend a lot of money and resources to defend that lease in court, while at the same time harassing the Boy Scouts. Something's not quite adding up, but with that said, we are investigating and are happy to look into it.
You don't think Ms. Boyack is not telling the truth, do you?
Well, there's two things. We're investigating it, number one, but number two, even if you take a look at their claims on their face, she's basically arguing that the city was enforcing the boundaries of the leasehold, and in another part of the complaint, they're complaining about parking tickets on illegally parked cars. So if enforcing existing laws...